What's up? It's Guru Jojo. For this video, I'm going to be doing the current energy update, the transits, the forecast via the planetary alignments that's currently coming into play, and what's currently going on now on a smaller scale. So current sun position, moon position, things like that. So the main updates I want to do is going to be on Jupiter and Uranus, which is going to be going direct. Well, no, Jupiter is going to be going direct on the 11th of August, and then Uranus is going to be going retrograde. So I'm going to speak about that after. Before getting into that, I want to jump into today's energy, just because I felt like the energy was very potent today. So that's the reason why I chose this day to speak on an energetic update, despite the fact that there is not a significant moon phase or whatever. So the sun, got me some notes because I had to write down what the transits are for today, the current transits. So the sun is squaring the moon right now. So the sun is currently in Leo. The moon's in Scorpio. That creates a square. And this creates kind of like a difficult square because the sun being in Leo, people want to show their vitality. They want to perform. And by perform, I don't mean, being necessarily on stage. Your stage is simply just the way that you show yourself to others. You could just simply be walking off the bus and people are watching you. That's your stage at that time. I don't know. It's just what you're showing others. You know what I'm saying? What's being brought more so to the light. And then when you have a moon in Scorpio, this creates hidden emotional complexes, hidden feelings, hidden agendas, ulterior motives. So it has a lot to do with fears and insecurities, and doing things in a roundabout way in order to fulfill those fears and insecurities. Repression, psychological problems, mental problems. We all have it. We all have all these energies intertwined in us. They're just mixed in a different way, and some are more potent in other people than they are in others. So it just depends. So when there's a sun squaring the moon, which is the current energy right now between Leo and Scorpio, then we have sort of like a emotional repression that could be conflicting with what we want to show people, what we want to show others, with the things that we want to entertain, whether it be that we don't have enough money to entertain something that we want to entertain, whether it be that we don't have the energy to entertain it, whether it be that we don't feel confident to entertain it, that we may feel some sort of insecurity that's getting in the way with something that we want to entertain. All these things pretty much would be connecting to the sun in Leo squaring Scorpio. So just some sort of underlying insecurity and fear that could be conflicting with the things that we want to show out to the world, the things that we want to perform, the things that we want to be bright in. And it could be directly conflicting with our playfulness too, because Leo represents childlike energy and being playful, just having fun and enjoying the self and being dramatic and drawing attention and recognition to the self. And Scorpio is an energy sometimes that often wants attention, but they don't. So it's like that weird kind of contradiction, because there's a fear and there's an insecurity oftentimes because attention wasn't given in the energy where somebody has Scorpio in their chart. And right now in a broad dynamic, that's the emotional stance that we're kind of all in, where we may want to give light to something. We may want to show something to someone, to people on a broad scale, whatever it be. But there's a direct conflict of insecurity, fear, So there might have been a past experience where we might have done a similar situation that evoked a similar emotional, like, memory. Like, you know, when you do something that reminds you of something else, it's psychological, and now this is affecting your ability to feel good about trying to do whatever it is that you're trying to do. Past mistakes could be conflicting with one's performance right now. So the sun squaring the moon, such a small, like, basic transit that carries so much energy though, and I definitely have felt it in, like, my current environment, and just like the energy in general today. I felt like this emo. I felt like, but maybe that's the vibes I have a little bit anyway. But I just felt like this pull of like emo energy. But it's like I'm trying to still stay in the light, but so it ends up being like dark light. Like, you know, it's like a dark light bulb. Have you ever had like a black light? It's like a black light. That's the sun squaring the moon right now in Scorpio. The energy is like a black light. I like that. All right. So anyway, let me stop. We also have still Venus is in Leo. Mercury's in the end of Cancer, is going to be entering Leo probably in the next, Mercury moves pretty quickly. So I'm going to say that it'll probably be in Leo by Saturday. Because it's in 26 degrees, I think, Cancer. Yeah, I wrote it down. It's 26 degrees Cancer. So 27, 28, 29, 30. Yeah, let's say, and it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I could be a little off, but we get the point. It's going to be going into Leo, and then that's going to have literally like 4 planets in Leo. 1, 2, 3, 4. So then we're going to have that, whatchamacallit? We're going to have a stellium in the zodiac sign of Leo. So we're going to notice a lot of competition when it comes to being recognized and just recognition energy in general. They're going to have to share the light with others. With all this energy in Leo, we have no choice but to share the light with others. We have to definitely implement the energy of Libra and Aquarius, because there's just too much energy in Leo right now. So with that being said, we also have, so what I was saying previously, Jupiter is going to be going direct. Jupiter has been in retrograde probably for the past 6 months or 3 months. I'm not good with it. Damn, I should look that up. But Jupiter pretty much, what is it? It's currently August, July, June, May. I think Jupiter went in retrograde in April. I'm going to look it up. But Jupiter stays in retrograde for quite some time. When this does happen, this means that a lot of our philosophies, our morals, a lot of our sense of positive judgment is being internalized and held back. So we may feel confident about doing something, but for some reason, the confidence is not actually motivating us to go after it, or to broadcast it, or to participate with it. There may be some insecurities as it relates to one's religious beliefs, spiritual practices, spiritual sense of belongingness, artistic endeavors that one wants to broadcast. Right now, there could just be some sort of insecurities that's pulling one back. But as Jupiter is slowing down in his retrograde position and it's going back direct, people will start to feel a little bit more confident in the things that they feel is a part of their cultural and philosophical values. Jupiter retrograde. I'm just going to look up when it went into retrograde. And you know, so all those things we've been internalizing is going to come back out. All of these good deeds that we've done, anything that we've been partaking in, Jupiter is it's your positive karma in the sense. So here's a thing that people make a mistake of when it comes to the frequency of Jupiter. Jupiter doesn't always mean good things are going to happen to you. It expands whatever you're connecting to. But it's like, if you've been focused on negativity, it's going to expand the negativity. It's going to add more negativity to the negativity. So it's almost like it matches the vibe to make it more, to make it bigger, you know, to swell it up. So it's like, if you've been indulging in food, if you've been indulging in, you know, certain substances, all of that is going to now expand your aura within that activity that you've been partaking in, that belief system that you've been connecting with. All of that's going to start to, like, almost like oracally pour out of you. So, and then this is going to have a direct influence with your law of attraction energy, the stuff that you're going to attract. Saturn is more about like your karma in terms of how have you been responsible, what have you been limiting yourself of. Jupiter, what have you been putting in, what have you been adding to yourself, and then that's going to determine what you attract. Where Saturn's like, what have you been limiting, aka what have you been setting boundaries, restrictions, and limits in. Time management, things like that. Like, have you been having like a workout routine? Like, have you been structuring a schedule for yourself? How long have you been working out? Have you been, is it something that you've been consistently building upon? Have you been trying to build something for yourself? That's a responsibility and a limitation. Jupiter is more so about what's the philosophy behind all that stuff. So a lot of times Jupiter is connected to, like, if you've been, you know, expanding your knowledge, expanding your spirit, in the sense that have you been expanding your wisdom and knowledge, and now you can implement that in anything that you do. It's like, what's the back end supporting behind your responsibilities and your professions. So if you're a person who ends up going on like a diet or something, what's the philosophy behind the science that you're using to structure yourself within that diet or something like that. It's just, or if you're opening a business, like what's the structural system, what's the philosophy behind the business that you're creating, you know, what's your principles behind it. So a lot of times it's like, oh, a lot of people these days, their principles is just, oh, I don't need any principles, I have a philosophical degree, like, you know, a PhD, that's a doctor of philosophy, that's connected to the 9th house, which is connected to Jupiter as well. Then there's, you know, the Pisces Jupiter energy, that's more connected to your actual spirituality, your actual belief system, your subconscious mind, and things like that. And, you know, your subconscious thoughts and the people that you decide to connect with and how they subconsciously influence you, the things you're involved in, knowing the truth about those things. And so you see how it's like different, but it's like, at the end of the day, Jupiter, it doesn't only have to do with spirituality, it has to do with your education. It doesn't have to be, it's higher education, but it does not have to mean you went to school and you got a degree. It just means that, like, do you have a broad scope of knowledge? Like, your first years of education in higher education, where you get a bachelor's degree, which is like a 4-year degree, you don't really learn, how do I say, you don't really learn a subject like that. It's a broad, you learn a broad dynamic of subjects. It's like liberal arts almost. Your first like 3 years, and then your last year you start to learn a little bit more about the topic of interest, your major. But it's like, you don't learn about you learn about everything else, like about life. You know, you got to take your little algebra, you got to take your little history, your sociology. It's like, do you get what I'm trying to say? That's a broad scope of knowledge. So that's the difference. It's like, that's what Jupiter is. It's like you build your philosophies behind your broad scope of understanding the world itself. So I forgot to look up the Jupiter thing, because I just feel like it's relevant to know when it did start. So, okay, I know that it's going back in, oh, okay, so it said it started on January 14th of 2019. Was it really? That's a long time. Yeah, no, that was wrong. It began on April 10th. I don't know what that other thing was talking. Maybe that was last year. But Jupiter retrograde 2019 began on April 10th. Yeah, April 10th to August 11th. So April, May, June, July, August. So it's like a 4-month period of like, you know, internalizing your beliefs so that you can kind of like get in tune with the self. You know, a lot of people's Jupiter gets disrupted by everyone else's beliefs around them. But when it's retrograde, it's important to really tune in with yourself. Now it's going to go back direct on August 11th so that we can now externalize what we've internalized. And this is going to attract our luck. It's going to attract our benefits. So then at the same time, Uranus is going to go retro. So when Uranus goes retro, this is gonna be when Uranus retro is weird because it's like first of all it's a outer planet, but Uranus has to do with sudden changes, sudden disruptions coming in because there's a need to update the system. There's a need to bring change to the system. And usually these could be people that end up coming into your life or coming into an environment that causes like an upheaval to change the outdated dynamics of another person, whether it be their belief system, whether it be their what they think they know knowledge wise, whether it be their interest, whatever it be. And then a lot of times it's an environment, right? That gets disrupted. You know, a lot of times when I was having Uranus transits, for some reason, like every time I like started working somewhere, it was like that job was going under construction. Literally, like they either switched buildings or like they were in the process of moving into a new building, like as I was working there. And literally I'd be having a Uranus transit. And so that's a lot of times, and it'll be like, oh, there's a new technology system that's coming about. A lot of times Uranus causes glitching and stuff because there's new information being imported into a new environment or a new computer. Like if you end up changing the system on your computer, you know, you're bound to have some sort of errors and malfunctions until the system gets used to it. You know, if it's something to do more so with your body, you could be undergoing some sort of like new, I want to say a new environment. You could have moved, or you could be taking like a new medication and your body's not used to the way it's interacting. And then these could be causing funny side effects for a while until your body gets used to it. That's all Uranus is. It brings in new things. A lot of times it's, because it's in Taurus, right? So this is new values. So there could be people coming in your life, or there could be new technology coming into people's lives where they have to change their preferred interest of technology or something like that. So that's right now. Well, no, on the 11th of August, when Jupiter goes direct, Uranus is going to go retrograde, and the Uranus influence is going to pretty much have us more connected to, it's almost like adapting us to the change rather than change happening. The change has already happened, but now we're updating so that we can be more compatible with the change. So that's pretty much what's going to be going on right now with, you know, the current energies, which I expressed. The sun was squaring the moon today. I should have looked up what's going to be going on tomorrow, but in general, I saw that I think this week there's also going to be Venus trining Jupiter. So this is going to bring in abundance, Yeah, so actually on 8/8, which I believe is tomorrow, Venus is going to be trining Jupiter. So this is going to bring in things like, you know, benefits, good fortune, feelings of like abundance and love, and one's values. Be careful with overspending money. Like right now, we could feel kind of gregarious, you know, when tomorrow comes, because the energy is going to be there for it. So it can cause people to just feel extra creative and also extra potent in the energy of broadcasting, potent in the energy of just not worrying about limits. Like, so this is stuff like, because it's connected to Venus, which has to do with our values. Try to use cash instead of cards, because what the Jupiter energy is going to do is make you feel like it's okay, like you have the money. And I trust me, I'm the last to talk. I'm not good with this stuff. I just know these energies, and I'm trying to better myself too. That's why I learned astrology, so I can better myself. It's so, just be careful with that, because you could feel like, oh, I got the money, because it's like Jupiter. You're just like abundance. Like, it's a feeling of confidence, and confidence, it has the word con in it, so it's just like, it's not real. Like, it's not profidence, it's confidence. Like, that shit ain't real. It's just a feeling. It's gonna go away, like, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, things weren't so lovely after all. Maybe I'm just negative, I don't know. Thank you for watching. That's the energies for the rest of the week, pretty much. Blessings, light, and love to everyone.